Hey everyone, it's a bonus episode of Deep Convos podcast with your favorite deep conversationalists, Fran, moi, and my sister Meg. And what Meg's face, if you can't see it, is one of disgust. But what we're gonna do in these 15 to 20 minutes of time is just talk about some embarrassing slash, what would you call these questions? We're going to answer some questions that are either embarrassing or they're all just pretty cringy. I guess like cringy questions. We're just going to answer them because, we don't want to push those experiences down. We want to air them out. Would you agree, Meg?
I like to air stuff out.
Yeah, let's air this out. Like some of these things I'm just like, I've just pushed down in my psyche, and then like these questions, we asked each other these questions, and then I was like, oh shit, like that happened and I never really fully addressed it. Ugh. Cringe, but also like, what a relief.
Skeletons in the closet.
Skeletons in the closet. Really embarrassing skeletons in the closet. So and I was thinking we could alternate asking each other. So like if I ask, you answer first, and then you ask the next one and I answer first.
Okay.
I'm good. Okay. So I'm gonna ask
in any order or?
No, let's go in this order. I mean, it's just easier. Don't make it
Okay, sorry guys.
No, I mean it's fine. So okay. Her husband just walked by, for people who are fucking confused.
What? It's in the drawer. Check the drawer. Okay, sorry.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so we're just gonna go in order of how I wrote it. So I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna ask you.
Okay.
Here we go, guys. What's the first thing you do if you woke up one day and you were the opposite sex? A dude, basically.
So you're asking me, right?
Yes.
So I would honestly like play with my dick. No, by play, not masturbate. I mean, like I would be just like, I'm gonna pee. I'm gonna like look at it and like I just really want to pee because that's like something I admire.
I feel like guys are so sensitive. Like
I would eventually masturbate, but at first I would just pee standing up because I've always wanted to have that experience. Like every time that I travel or just anywhere really.
That's the first thing you do. This is like literally the first thing you do. That's the first
thing I would do. I'd be like, I'm gonna go pee in a bush somewhere and see what it feels like without even having to put my pants down or anything. Because as a girl, that's what I want to do. I hate like if I'm in public and there's no toilet, having to pop a squat somewhere and like, oh, can you watch behind me? I want to just be a dude and like whip it out and pee wherever I want to.
Right.
And then I would masturbate.
One. I feel like, I mean, if we were doing it realistically, it's probably masturbate, just because guys are so dictated by stimulation of.
Yeah, but I will still have my girl's brain though.
I know you have your girl's brain, but you have the guy's body. You'd have the guy's body, and the guy's body wants their penis stimulated. But that's not my answer. My answer is I would probably take a walk and see how different I'm treated. Because like,
oh yeah, that's a good one.
I feel like it would be so different. I just want to walk around as a guy and see how much easier it is. And just fucking feel that, see what that feels like. But if I'm being honest, it's probably masturbate. I don't know. I have
actually another thing I thought of, like while you're walking around, is you're not gonna have to wear a bra. That would feel nice and
yeah, but sometimes I don't. I mean, sometimes we can get away with that because we're part of the IBTC.
Itty bitty titty committee.
IBTC. So, but yeah, I mean, totally, like just fucking. Yeah,
just like, or not wearing makeup too. Just like,
I mean, I also don't do that anymore.
No, I know, but like, I mean, like if you're going to work or something.
Oh yeah, but that's not the first thing. Like if I were going to like a party and like all I had to wear was like a nice party, and like all I had to wear was like a nice shirt and a nice pair of pants and some to comb my hair. That's it. But it's not the first thing. That's like, not the first thing. But yeah. Oh. Okay.
Okay. I'll ask you the next one. If you could erase one past experience, what would it be?
Yeah, so full disclosure, everyone, we thought about these answers beforehand because we wanted to be prepared. So Meg's already heard this. But so yeah, when I was a senior in high school.
Oh no.
Meg's already like, oh, I had this crush, okay? Like, I don't know why he was like a scrawny guy who had a skateboard and like his lame car.
Ew, that's your type?
It wasn't. I don't know why he was the guy, but he was the guy.
Skater dudes, huh?
Not gonna reveal any names.
He was a skater boy.
Skater dude. He was like, he used to be this dorky guy when we were freshmen, and then in the senior year, he like lost his glasses and like he lost his glasses and got a skateboard. Otherwise, he was still the scrawny guy, but all of a sudden he was popular and he was funny.
He pulled the Neville Longbottom from Harry Potter.
He did,
How
but
Neville got hot.
Nearly as hot as Neville Longbottom. But I was like, oh, but he's cute. And so for some reason I had a crush on this guy. But anyway, we were in history class and we were taking like this huge test with Mr. Palermo. I don't know his name. But and so we were taking this test. It was really quiet. And he was sitting like so I was in the back row and he was like in the row above and like diagonal to my left. So he was super close. And I was like feeling his presence. So you know how when you have a crush, you feel their presence. Like the moment they enter the room, you're like, your whole body's like one antenna zoned into them. Like that's literally your whole body, like just knows. Even when you're not looking, you're like, that's where he is at this moment. So of course my body was like knew he was there. Like the whole time I was taking a test, I was like, oh, he's here. So I was like doing my test / thinking about my crush. And out of nowhere, I didn't feel it coming. I farted the loudest fart. It was so quiet in the classroom because, of course, everyone's taking tests, and I farted the loudest fart. It wasn't even. I wish it was a quiet, smelly one. Like, yeah, it'll smell shitty, but at least you can point to like, oh, it could have been this person, or because it's a smell, it's wafting everywhere. But the sound is like obviously coming from me. I was in the last row and he was near me, so he knew it was me. So I farted the loudest fart. And there were a couple Snickers. I think he was one of the Snickers, if I'm being honest with you.
Oh no, betrayal.
Not betrayal. He didn't know I existed. I farted the loudest fart and I just, you know what? And I knew I needed to go to the bathroom too. But I didn't because I knew that if I raised my hand, I knew I had to go to the bathroom, but I didn't know I was going to fart. Just wanted a full disclosure. But if I knew that if I raised my hand and I stood up and went to the bathroom, I would have risked having some sort of emission, like some sort of smelly fart.
Also, it's like calling more attention to yourself.
Right. So I was like, I just got to like hope that this exam finishes and I can poop after, but I didn't know I was going to fart. You know how sometimes you can feel, mostly you can feel when a fart's coming, but I didn't know this fart was coming. So I farted and I ruined my chances. Not that I had any. We were in different social tiers. But yeah, Aww. There it is. I'm not going to say any names, but wherever
that takes bravery to tell that story.
Wherever you are right now, crush. Don't even remember what you look like, but
where is Neville Longbottom?
Skater Neville. Wherever you are, Neville, I don't know if you still skateboard, you still have that car, that shitty car, but hope you're doing well. Okay, it's your turn.
Maybe he got unhot, like went from unhot to hot to unhot.
I mean, he wasn't even super hot to begin with, so whatevs. Anyway, it's your turn. What would you erase?
That's like I can't like top that.
Yeah, you can.
No, that's pretty bad. For me,
Wow.
there's just like a relationship that I had that I honestly could do without. Now it's a source of comedy for me and my friends, and we look back on it and we laugh like, oh my gosh, Megan, what the fuck were you doing? But basically, before my last ex, I was in a relationship with this guy. I'm just gonna call him J, capital J. He was like the bouncer of this club who he told me he was just like 28, which was like, I don't know, 8 years older than me. In reality, he was like in his 40s. He's a fucking liar. That's just one of the problems with him. He was a chronic
I
liar.
remember
But
that.
anyway, I was just in my early 20s, like alcoholic, like sleep with anyone phase. And so I was like, yeah, bouncer of a club. That's super cool. And like, anyway, one thing led to another. And it was just a toxic relationship. And it was short lived and maybe like 3 months tops. But anyway, eventually I had to leave college and go home. And I don't want to go into details, but you can tell like it was insane because there was one night I was working in a restaurant and I was like 4 hours away from my college, by the way, in a different city because I was home. I was done with my shift. It was nighttime. It was dark. I walked to my car, got in my car, closed the door, and then all of a sudden I hear a knock on my car window. And I look and it's fucking Jay. He is outside my car at my restaurant, 4 hours away from my college. I don't even know how he found me, how he knew where I worked. And I literally like shat my pants. I'm like, what the are you doing here? And then I didn't know what to do. So I like put the window down, open like a little bit. And he said like, oh, like I really want, cause I had broken up with him at this point and he like couldn't take it.
Yeah. Oh my God. I
So
remember.
anyway, basically he stalked me. To this day, I don't know how he found out where I worked. I don't know what was wrong with me. I took him to get groceries and I found him a hotel because I just didn't want to leave him there. I shouldn't even have done that, honestly.
Yeah. Taking advantage. He was taking advantage of you.
Yeah. And then at the point when I got into another relationship with my ex, he continued to message me on social media, like really cryptic
Didn't his
things like
mom message you too?
his mom. No, I think it was
Or
a
one of
girl, like another
one of his
girl that
family members or like someone he knew.
I don't know if it was his family member, but it was like a girl or like an ex who was like, stay away from Jay. And I'm like, I'm not even with Jay.
Yeah,
You can have
someone he
him.
knew was like saying, "Stay away from him," which was like
Yeah.
fucked
That
up.
another thing is he would email me like, I'm gonna be there at your graduation. You're gonna see my face in the crowds, that kind of thing. Another thing was he threatened suicide because of me. There was one night where I received a text from him and he said, I have a gun to my head right now and I'm gonna kill
Yeah,
myself
I
if you don't
remember
get
that.
back with me. And then
Yeah.
he just disappeared. He didn't text me for like a week and I thought he killed himself because of me. And that was honestly like the limit of what he did to me. And I ended up calling Williamsburg police and I'm like, can you find a guy who fit this description? Because I think he killed himself. And it turns out he was fine. He didn't
Emotionally
even,
manipulating you.
yeah. So anyway, if I could erase like an experience from my life, it would be that. I mean, yeah, I still believe every relationship teaches you something, but that was just Megan being stupid and involving herself with someone who was a chronic liar, stalker, manipulator. What the fuck? And now I laugh at it because it's like, what the actual fuck were you doing?
Yeah.
Okay, that's my
Oh,
answer.
I remember that guy. Oh. Anyway. I mean, I hope he's okay, but anywho. You're asking the question.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wait, no, I'm asking the question.
No, yeah, you're asking it.
Okay. What's the craziest thing you've ever done to attract a crush?
So it's not really like a crush, but I'll tell you like the craziest thing I ever did for someone I liked, who is my husband. You can't see him; he's in the bathroom.
I mean, we all saw him already, so
Oh, he's not
we
there anymore.
all
He just left.
already saw a lot of him.
Okay, sorry about that. So yeah, so at this point, so I, went to Morocco, as you guys know, to teach and volunteer and live there for 3 months. And it was time for me to go to India, which was my next destination to teach and volunteer and whatnot. I didn't know I would meet my husband there. I didn't know that I would. It's like so cheesy, fall in love. I didn't know like I would become attracted to someone there, but I did. And so by the time that it was getting close for me to leave for India, I was just devastated. I didn't. It's like, can you put me yourself in my shoes? Like you meet someone who it's like life changing, and you're like, now I have to leave and go to India, and then I'll go back to my life in the States. And so I was reconsidering all my plans at this point. And it was like 2 days before my flight to India. It was in the middle of Ramadan. And I remember I texted Mo and I'm like, let's meet up after we have our breakfast because I want to talk to you about something. And so we meet up, and like, I literally, it's like so dramatic. I was like, I know I had plans to go to India and then go back to the States to like resume my old life, but I've been thinking about it and I want to change everything. I want to travel with you after India. I want to travel with you and then live with you somewhere. That's it. Like, so he was like, are you sure? Like, I thought you were going back to the States. And I was like, I don't want to anymore. I want to see you again. Like, I want to
Oh,
make this work. And he was
so
like,
cute.
I want to do that too. And so we were like in total agreement.
Yeah, so
And
cute.
it was still like super squishy, and like we didn't know how that was going to happen because I didn't have any fucking plans. All I had was my flight to India and my return flight to the States already that I pre-booked. But we worked it out eventually. One thing led to another. I went back to the States, packed my stuff, and then I went back to Morocco. And then that's the rest
Oh,
is
you
history.
guys
But
just like
that's
dove in there. Dove in
we did. We literally dove
deep
in there
end.
because at that point, that part of what I said to him too was, I know we literally just have known each other a month and a half, like literally, barely any time. So I knew I was taking a huge risk, but it just felt right to me. It was one of those like carpe diem moments. I'm like, this
Yeah.
is something that when I look back on, I don't want to be like, I didn't take that chance. There was a
I'm not
reason why
gonna
I met
lie.
this
I was
person.
like, holy she's moving fast. But now it's like obviously you really loved him. But in the beginning I was like,
Yeah.
shit,
I mean,
she's
I'm sure everyone was thinking that, but that was an example of where I had to put other people's opinions aside and really ask myself, like, do I really want this? And I did. So that's probably like the craziest thing I've done because like I said, I already had my plans and I completely changed them like that because I met someone. So kind
that
of
is
like a crush.
crazy.
But anyway, now it's your turn. What's
Craziest
the
thing.
craziest thing you've ever done to
Not
attract a
nearly
crush?
that level. In fact, the opposite way. I'm not really a person who does like really like impulsive things. I'm not that kind of person. So, but anyway, I guess this is gonna sound so lame compared to what you just said. But
Nothing
okay,
is lame.
it's lame. So there was this club in Boston that I always went to. It's called Middlesex. It was the bomb, but now it's like it's probably even in like my last years in Boston, it was like, ugh, it got so lame. Ew. But in the beginning, I was like, I would go there all the time. And how old was I? Like 25, mid 20s. And the usual crowd there was like, because it was like near in like MIT and Harvard, so like you would get like all these students and also like people who worked at MIT and like grad students from there. So like that was the usual crowd, which is like my crowd apparently, because I was like, oh, I'm in my 20s. So one night I was there all drunk as per usual. And dancing with my friends, and then like for some reason I set my sights on this one dude. I mean, I was really drunk, but he was really attractive. I mean, we like hung out several, like a couple months after that, but like he was like really attractive. Let's call him H. H was really attractive, and he was like with this group of dudes. But like I don't know, I was doing the whole like coy thing. I'm like, I don't want to approach him. I'm gonna wait till he approaches me. I don't even know if he likes me. It was also lame, like what I did in my mid 20s. Um, so I like was dancing around, and then like I don't know how I got to like started dancing. I somehow pulled over his friend, not even him. I pulled his friend over, who's like this like tall, not my type, like this like tall. If we're talking about lacrosse players, like he looked like a tall blonde white AF like lacrosse player. For some reason, I pulled this guy over, even though I wasn't interested, to make H jealous. Who knows what a drunken mind is thinking logically. So I started dancing with this guy. I'm like, oh, is H looking? I don't know. And then like, and then I started making out with this other guy had no intention of doing anything with. Started making out with this guy. Um, and and he was like, oh, like, can I get, like, of course he was like into me. So he was like, oh yeah, like this is cool. We should like see each other after. I'm like, nah. And then, see, this is how vague it was. This is how drunk I was that I barely remember. And then like my friends wanted to leave. It got to the point. This is how long I was dancing with this guy I cared nothing about. This is how long it was. My friends wanted to leave eventually, and I was still with this random dude. And so I was like, oh, I have to go, but can you tell your friend, what's your friend's name? Like, and he was like, H. And I was like, could you give, I'm going to give you my number, but could you give it to oh, no, here's what I did. Oh, it's coming back to me. I got his number because I was like, I had in my brain like, oh, tomorrow I'm going to text this guy and ask him for H's number. That was my harebrained plan. So I was like, yeah, let me give you my number. Yeah, okay, I'll see you later. And then the next day, it was a Thursday night. Did I say that? So Friday, I was at work, working from home. And then I was like, oh shit, I really want to see H. Why? I don't know. Didn't talk to the guy. So I text this lacrosse guy and I was like, hey. And he was like, oh, hey, how are you? Because he really wanted to see me. I was like, what's your friend's number? Isn't it horrible? I was like, hey, it was great hanging out with you. Could you give me your friend's number so I could hang out with
You
him?
just used him, basically.
Yeah. Isn't that horrible?
You're a user.
But it wasn't even like fully using because we were both fucking wasted out of off our ass. But no, it was using. So he was like, oh, yeah, okay, here you go. And then
1 sec.
And then he gave it to me. And then he was like, don't do anything. Something like dad jokey. Like he was like, well, don't do anything I wouldn't do, or like take care of him, okay? Or something.
No, that's such a dad joke.
Well, it is because like it was so awkward. It's like, what the fuck, dude? You literally made out with this guy and not the person you were actually interested in. And then the next day asked the guy for the other guy's number, who was his friend. It's not crazy, but it's like, what the fuck are you doing? I wasn't even like, it wasn't even that I was 20 years old. I was 25. Like, there was a thought in my head. It was like, which was like, what are you doing? And then I was like, oh, hey, H. It was like a glimmer.
I would have done that too, actually. So I'm not even like judging you. I would have done that too.
Yeah, well,
I've done
31-year-old me is like, what the fuck? Ew.
Yeah.
Not even worth it, I'm telling you, that guy. Anyway, so that was my thing. Okay, you're asking that.
That's a good answer.
You're asking the next question.
Okay. Number 4, what's the weirdest thing you've ever done in front of the mirror?
Again, I'm not a cray-cray. Okay, I shouldn't say cray-cray. I'm not like a weird person, like I don't do weird shit in front of the mirror. But the weirdest thing I do is I do neck, because I have a little bit of a double chin. Got people on YouTube, here you go. So when I'm in the mirror, I go like, so here, my jaw's like here, right? It's like back a little. So I move my jaw forward and then go like, oh, this is what I would look like with a normal jaw. And I look and I literally stand in front of the mirror like as long as possible without bothering my roommates and go, oh. And then and I also have like pretty, like my cheeks are like, it's like a love-hate relation. But like growing up, people would squish it like unsolicited.
Dude, my cheeks are so much worse. What the hell?
Whatever. People would unsolicited go like, oh. And so sometimes I would also go like, oh, this is what, or like if I would just stretch it back and be like, oh, this is what I would look like with a normal jaw and like no cheekbone. Okay, guys, before you go like, oh my gosh, she has like such self-esteem issues. Like I'm fine, but sometimes I just dream like, what if I had like this jaw? Like it's not weird. People I'm sure do this, but that's the only thing I can think of that's weird besides talking to myself in the mirror, going, "You're worth it." But that's just
I'm sure a lot of people do that.
yeah. So that's not weird. Anywho, what do you do?
I mean, I've just kissed myself before. I'm sure I'm not alone. I was young. I forget which age, but it's like the age where you're like, oh, I wonder what it's like to make out with someone. And the first time
Wait,
that I
was
do
it
it, I want
before
to
your
be good
first
at
boyfriend?
it.
Was it before your first boyfriend? I
A
remember your first
boyfriend.
boyfriend.
I mean, my first actual boyfriend was Jay, who I don't even count.
No,
So I'm gonna say my first like encounter with a guy.
no,
First
it
sexual
was
experience.
that dude from high
It was.
school. Who's the
Oh yeah, ew! I
younger
like totally
brother
erased him.
of my classmate?
Oh
I'm not gonna
ew!
say
Don't even think
names,
about
but I
that.
remember his last.
Oh
Yeah, but you must have made
yeah,
out with
probably
him.
before that. Yeah, it was like in my
So you
tweens.
probably practiced on the mirror before you did it with him.
Probably it wasn't for him. It was just like whenever I do have like my first kiss with a guy ever. So
It was
that's
such
why I
a
forget the
weird.
exact age.
That was such a weird pairing. I was like,
Ew, I don't even want to talk
okay,
about it.
yeah,
Ew.
sneak
I
out
think
with.
I also broke up with him with a letter.
That's sad. But you also you snuck out with him, like you broke house rules, and I'm like,
Oh, I mean that was fun. I actually like really enjoyed that
yeah, but I
experience.
was like, with this guy, okay.
I mean, I
Um,
just wanted a sneak out buddy, but anyway, sorry, that's not the point of this question. Yes, I like made out with myself in the mirror.
that I feel
I
like
wanted
that's
to be.
also normal. Although I've done it with my hand, not the mirror, because I feel like ew. Like when people floss their germs, their spit goes on the
I
mirror.
think I cleaned the mirror first before
Oh,
I
good. I'm glad. But
because it's like then it's like you can see the mouth. There's like actually a mouth
yeah,
to
but you use this
kiss.
for the mouth.
Ew, no, I need to like
Anywho.
yeah. It's
Okay,
that's what I did.
wonderful. You're asking the next one.
Okay. No, you're asking the next one.
Oh yeah, okay. Describe one of your very first date or your one of your first dates that are kind of cringy.
Okay, so it's like really hard because I didn't really have a lot of actual quote unquote dates, but I will recall one with this guy that I totally used. I'll try to make this quick. So
Mm,
basically, I was an RA. I was like a sophomore. I was a resident assistant for 3 floors of like juniors and seniors, and there was one boys' floor. And I found out from one of my residents that one of the boys liked me. And so at that point, I was like the stupid alcoholic Megan who was like, just jump on anything that expressed interest in me. And I'm like, great. And he's a senior, so he can buy me free alcohol. So it's like sex and alcohol. Great. And so I was like, just the fact that I knew that he liked me, it was like the really shitty Megan's manipulation began. I
mhm.
really regret all this, by the way. I'm sorry. I'm not like this anymore. So I would like invite him to my room. I was an RA. Like, what the fuck was I doing? And we would do stuff. And then I would ask him to buy me alcohol. And in those encounters, I started to realize that he was really boring. Like, we just had nothing in common. You know, like he didn't like music. He just like watched sports and that's it. And despite that, like despite me increasingly realizing he was boring and like, oh my gosh, what am I doing with this guy? I could see him starting to get more attached to me because I would keep inviting him to my room and keep doing stuff with him. And so I knew I was leading him on. And so eventually we went on our first like quote unquote date. And I was just bored out of my fucking mind. Like the food he ordered was
Wait,
boring.
where
And I
did
was
you
just
guys
like,
go? Where'd you guys go?
it's like some Italian restaurant in Williamsburg.
Oh, you picked an Italian restaurant.
Yeah. So anyway, I was just like realizing in that date, like I don't
What
want to
did you guys
be
talk
with this
about? Like, if he
guy.
was so boring.
I just some other. I don't even know. This is like
Wow.
I can't even tell you. So anyway, that's the date that I would choose just because it was so awkward and. The thing it was like I feel like it was all for me. For him, he wasn't like registering anything because he just really liked me. So he would. I don't know. I honestly don't know if he like looked past the fact that we had nothing in common. So anyway, sorry, this answer is more like not just that date, but the whole entire experience. I ended up breaking up with this guy or because like my other friend was like, you need to stop doing this, you're leading him on. So I wrote him a letter and I put the alcohol he left in my room in a plastic bag and I hung it on his door. And that was my way of ending things.
Yeah, that takes the
And it was
cake.
just super awkward because it wasn't even the end of the year and I was his RA. So of course I still saw him and it was just like, I
Who
was just a total dick to this guy.
that
That's it.
was
That's my answer.
very a dickish, dude.
So
The
that's not really a date, but
tequila.
yeah, it was tequila. Yeah.
Um,
So what about you? What was your
so I had one, but
first date?
then another one's occurring to me that's actually a date. Because the one I was gonna say was like I didn't know it was a date, so I don't know if it can count. Um, okay, this is funny because this date was like, okay, it was New Year's Eve. So I was with my friend at this a bar in Boston. That was like it's like an Irish bar that's kind of it's really divey, but they had like karaoke because I went to all the karaoke spots possible in Boston. So we were hanging out. And that was like it's funny because that was the first of two parties. I had that New Year's Eve party, and then I was gonna go to Brendan, my other friend's party in Mission Hill. So I was there, and then when I was there, this guy, let's call him J, letter J, started hitting on me, and I wasn't really into him, but I was like, oh, but I kind of like the attention. Also, I'm drunk. Do you see a common thread here? I was also drunk out of my ass. I mean, it was New Year's Eve, so not an excuse. But anyway, so he was flirting with me. And so I entertained it, and then I got his number. And I think he wanted to hang out further after that, but I was like, oh, I'm sorry, like I have this party that I have to go to in this other apartment. So, but I'll call you, like call me. So that ended that, and then I went to this other party. Um, and then there I met Brendan and his friends. I was such a mess that I went there that party, and then I ended up hooking up with his friend who was not that guy. I'm leading to something here. um so I slept with Brendan's friend and not Jay, who I said I was gonna see later. So I hooked up with that guy, did that one night stand thing, and then I woke up and like not snuck out. I said bye. And then I was texting Jay. This is after I hooked up with literally another person. It's like, hey Jay, no, Jay and I were texting the whole time. And he was like, yeah, so do you want to finally do that date that you said today? And I was like, oh yeah, that would be great. Like, I'll come over. Literally just slept with another guy. I don't know. I feel like the context is important. This is how my relationship with this guy started, is from there. Like, it's already not a good place to start. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. Like, a guy who like actually cares about me, like pays attention to me, like, yay. So I buy like a 6-pack of beer, and he lives really in a really hard to get to place, and I had to walk so far from like the bus stop, but I was like, it's worth it. Like, I don't care if it's like like Sunday after I'm severely hungover, and whatever, let's go. I'm gonna go to his place, and then we start watching a movie. And then that's the usual. It was like the lights were off, just the movie, and we were on the couch. Like his arm was like over me, I think. I don't know, I don't remember. And then he starts making out with me. And it was a fish. Like, it was a fish feeling. Like, you know how like
I remember this. Yeah, it's like
it just a lot of wetness, like a lot of tongue and like a lot of open mouth. There's no resistance. There was no resistance. It was and it was like a lot of like saliva like around here. So I was like, oh shit, this is not going to work out. Like, just from that moment on, I was like trying. I was like, maybe I should just tell him how to do it. But then I didn't. I was like, And then he was like, "Oh, stay." And then I was like, "Oh, by the way, I have to go. Like, I got work tomorrow." And it's like, "Oh, no, 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 stay. Like, stay a little longer." Obviously, like wanting me to stay, like, stay. And I was like, "No, no, yeah, I'll call you later. I'll text you. But no, I have to go." And he was like, "Oh, really? Like, we're just hanging out. Like, it's great." And I was like, "No, I know, I loved it. I like really like it, but I have to go." And then like we made out some more, made out in quotes because like I didn't enjoy it, but like the people pleaser in me was like, "No, I can't hurt his feelings." Also, like I kind of like feel weird going out with this guy after like the same night that he asked me out. I went out with someone else. So I'm just gonna not say anything. So that's how that date ended. Me not it, but anyway, and then like but at least I called him after and was like, "I don't want to keep going out with you," which he was mad about because I didn't give any sign that I wasn't interested. But at least I called instead of texted. um yeah, so that's how that date ended. It was like really weird because
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but
yeah, but at that point I'm like, I'm not gonna waste any energy telling you how to kiss because we're not actually.
yeah, that's not your job. So
Yeah, I mean, maybe if
just
we've been
leave.
dating for a while, I'm like, by the way, you need to work on this. Otherwise, we're gonna have to. But
Mm-hmm.
like at that point, I was like, no, I'm not gonna tell you how to. But also, I just knew
Yeah.
it was already destined to not work out. Like I already not cheated, but I already like didn't care to begin with if I was gonna.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, I hope that.
Yeah.
I hope neither. No, he's definitely not listening. Jay's not listening, but I hope Brendan's friend is not listening.
I think
Okay.
you're okay.
No, he follows me on Instagram, dude. Whatever.
I mean, it's just like was so long ago. Like it's just like whatever.
I mean, I remember it. Anyway, so the next I think you're asking this?
Yeah. What is the most embarrassing thing that has happened to you this year?
Oh, I don't want to go. It's not even that embarrassing anymore. Um, no, you go first.
Actually, this is like the hardest one for me. I
Yeah, I
don't
don't get
really
as embarrassed anymore as I used to.
like the
You?
only thing I can think of is I was calling someone the wrong name at work for like 5 months. I've known him and when it wasn't even the wrong name, I was just shortening it to a nickname that I later found out he preferred his actual name. And I just feel bad when I do that because it's just that's like the least sign of respect you can give to someone is call them by what they should. So I was kind of like a little bit mortified, but I'm like, sure, I'm not the only person who's done this. So that's the only thing I can think
Yeah, I
of.
think that's the thing with both of us is that we, at least for me, I don't get as embarrassed anymore. Like it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't affect me as much. Yeah, I did the same. I mean, I told you there, like I was telling Meg, I did the same thing with names in that I mixed up multiple like white women, not because I'm not, I'm not gonna defend it. I just like they were sitting in the same area. They're like all like blonde and like peppy and I have to take care in my old job. I had to like cater to 400 people. So like it was bound to happen that I was going to mix people's names up who sit in the same area and are all in their 20s and or 30s and look similar and kind of talked in the same sort of inflection. And I'm like, yeah. But anyway, that happened where, okay. And there was one time like my coworker was like, "Hey, can you I'm not gonna say her name. Let me think of another name. Heather. Heather needs this. Can you get it to her?" I'm like, Heather, yeah, yeah. I mean, I knew the name. I was like, I knew this person worked here. I knew the area she sat in, that area. So I was like, okay. But this was in the kitchen, and I was like, okay, Heather. Who's Heather? And I was like, Heather. And then I turned and then my coworker's like, "She's right there." And she was literally next to me, but I didn't know it was her because I thought it was like I was mixing her up with someone else. Cause like again, I mixed up all the names. So I was like, Heather, yeah, duh. Like I mean, how do you recover from that? You just have to admit that you've been there for 8 months and you didn't know that this person you saw all the time was named Heather.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a Heather in my company, but this is not that Heather. Okay, I should have picked a different fake name. But yeah, her name starts with an H, and I messed it up. Messed it up in front of her. You know, how are you gonna recover from that? So I just had to be like, here's what you needed, Heather. Not really that embarrassing, but at the moment it was very embarrassing. But then I got over it in like 2 seconds because I didn't.
Yeah.
Really
And I'm sure from her point of view, like she was understanding. Like if that happened to me, like I would be like, dude, it's no
she
big
like
deal.
probably forgot about it like the next day. Yeah, but other than that, nothing horribly embarrassing like that fart I did in high school. Like nothing.
I think nothing beats that one.
Honestly,
After that one, you're good.
that was the worst. But yeah, nothing. So, and that wraps it up. With our
Yay.
cringy. Not all of it was cringy actually. Like when I was saying some of them, I was like, these were really cringy during them. But now I'm just like, man, it was more through the lens of like, man, when I was young, the shit I did.
Yeah.
Not really.
There are lessons learned now. Lessons learned.
Yeah, I'm like now I'm just like, oh, look at me. Yeah, so
there's a Selena Gomez song. I think you should play. It's like, look at it now. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't listen to popular music though. So.
Okay, never mind. But the lyrics are like basically like, oh, this is who I was in the past, and now look at me now. And that's literally the lyrics. It's look at her now.
Yeah, that's how I feel. So that's apropos. Yay! How do you feel now?
Yay. I like talking about this stuff. It's totally fine with me. Like I feel the same.
Me too. It's like unearthing some things that I haven't thought about in years. So
it's fun. Just fun. I like to reflect and learn from the shit that I did, and I'm glad I'm not a dick anymore. I hope I'm not a dick.
Oh, I'm not a dick anymore too. Like I can actually talk to people now. Okay, thanks for entertaining us, everyone. If you have any cringy stories that you are willing to share, we'd love to hear it. So yeah, hit us up. Our socials are going to be in the description below, so hit us up. Bye everyone. Happy Father's Day. Enjoy. Yay.
All right, stay safe and take care of yourself, and see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.